Hi, my name is Zainab, and I will be going through the code for the bank program management system. Basically, this management system relies on object-oriented programming concepts. So the way that this program works is by um, showing the user an option, a menu option that allows the user to select one of five options, which includes different transaction types or just printing the um, balance. What happens is if the user, for example, selects withdraw and then enters the amount that they wish to withdraw, then um, the program would first complete validation checks to ensure that there's enough sufficient funds for that withdrawal, and then it carries out that transaction type, the withdrawal. First, I will start with the parent class because it's the transaction class because it's the parent class that other classes can inherit from. Um, and you can see that basically this class has the common features that other classes would use. So if we look at the execute method here in the parent class, the transaction class, we can see that it's virtual. So what that means is the child classes can override it. They can perform certain types of execution. So like of this method. Because we have different types of transactions like depositing, withdrawing, transferring, so they can do the specific type of transaction. So, for example, if we go to deposit, we can see here that the execute method that was inherited from the transaction class has been overridden here to perform um, the deposit, the deposit of the funds. Whereas if we go to the transfer transaction, which is a bit more complicated, involves more steps. So basically, it's also overriding the execute method, but we can see here that it's first performing the withdrawal, executing that from account A, for example. And then if that is successful, it would then deposit it into account B. So there's the execute method, but you can see it's being overridden. What this basically means is that the methods from the transaction class they can be inherited. Um, so the child classes would use the same logic, but they would add their own behavior, specific behaviors. So in conclusion, inheritance would allow the parent transaction class to share common properties and methods with the child classes, but those child classes can add their specialization in those methods. And you can see here, even with the properties, um, they're protected. So that means the child classes can access them, but they can also have their own properties as well. So, for example, with the transfer transaction class, it would need to know where are the funds being withdrawn from, and where they're being deposited into. So this also covers polymorphism, and basically polymorphism is um, the way that objects of different types are treated as like objects of a common type, which here we have like the common, like the transaction parent class. So if we go back to the program here, so if a user selects any of these options, what happens, it will the the system will construct an object of that option. So down here, um, we have for each type. So for withdrawal, and also down here transfer, we can see that we have the constructing of an of that type, and then the system then, based on the chosen type, even though we have the base method that um, through polymorphism, it will enable this base method to behave differently depending on the object that is being called um, as covered. So that's how it all works together, and then it goes into each child class again, and then um, it performs the specialized, if you will, the specialized behavior for that specific transaction type or that specific object.